Now it's recording. There we go.
So impeachment means to accuse of a crime. Presidents, vice presidents, judges can all be impeached by what group? Congress. Congress does the impeaching. The executive branch and the judicial branch can get impeached. Go down to number 17. Actually, 16. There has to be an accusation of crime involved. We've had 3 presidents impeached. Johnson in the 1860s, Clinton in the 90s, and then Trump last year. There has to be an accusation of a crime. In the 1860s, Johnson was impeached because Congress hated him. They passed a law they knew he'd break. He broke it, and then the Supreme Court came back later and said that was unconstitutional, the law they passed. And he didn't get kicked out by 1 vote. So 1 vote saved him. But I wonder what would happen if he got kicked out and the Supreme Court said that was unconstitutional. I guess they would have had to bring him back. Clinton committed perjury, lying under oath in a court case. We've never had a president in a sexual harassment case before. That was a first. And we've never had a president have sex with an intern in the Oval Office.
In the Oval?
Yeah, or maybe the room next to it. But you know, it's just sex. It's just, and you can just sleep with anybody you want anytime. That's fine. So they found him guilty of perjury, and then found him guilty, took away his law license, and said, "No, we're very upset with you," and didn't kick him out. He wasn't going to kick him out of office because the economy was great. The economy was doing really good. Trump was impeached with charges of corruption and abuse of power. Supposedly, now he did contact the Ukrainian president for information about there's a civil war going on in Russia and there's all kinds of junk going on, and so he was looking for information. And the charge was we withheld foreign aid unless they gave us the information. He was found not guilty. So we've never had a president kicked out of office. We've had 1 found guilty, and they weren't kicked out of office. Now look at your phones and see how many judges have been impeached. 3 presidents. None of them kicked out of office. Nixon was not impeached because he stepped down before impeachment could happen. He didn't want to put the country through it. 15 federal judges have been impeached. I think 8 of them kicked out of office, kicked out of their job. Bless you. Now let's go back to impeachment. The House Judiciary Committee. They are the prosecuting attorneys. The prosecuting attorney gathers evidence. Gathers evidence and tries to prove guilt. And they may or may not find evidence. If they find evidence, then they present that to the House. The House acts as the grand jury. Remember anything about a grand jury?
Teachers, slight interruption. At this time, we need all juniors to report to the cafeteria. Teachers, at this time, we need all juniors to report to the cafeteria. Thank you.
The grand jury doesn't do guilt or innocence. Is there enough evidence for a trial? in this case, they determine whether or not to impeach or not. If they vote to impeach, then there'll be a trial. If they vote not to impeach, there won't be a trial.
So if they initially say there's not and more evidence comes up, can they?
They can redo it. They can come up again, yes. The Senate is the jury. The jury decides guilt or innocence. And possible punishment. Bill Clinton got his law license taken away from him, so he can't work it. One last thing. And the vice president, since they've already got a gavel and they're sitting at the front of the Senate anyway, they say you just be the judge. Could that cause a problem? If it is president or vice president, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court steps in as the judge. If it's just a judge, the vice president stays in there. If vice president or president. Hey, is Pablo okay?
Yeah. He's back to school.
That's what I was thinking.
You just have.
That's how it works here. That's impeachment. What's CJ of SC?
Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
To override a presidential veto, what does that take?
2/3 vote.
2/3 vote. 2/3 vote of Congress. Now, I learned something today. There's been a whole lot more overriding vetoes than I ever thought. There has been, I looked it up, there's been around 1,600 vetoes in our history, and there's been about 106 vetoes overridden. And one was overridden last year that I didn't know about. Donald Trump vetoed a bill, it was some defense bill, and Congress and the Senate overrode it like 80-something to 13. I didn't never know about that. If the president picks a Secretary of State or a judge, what has to happen before those people take their position?
Sworn into office.
Senate has to check and make sure they're okay. So the president can't just pick anybody they want. The Senate has to oversee that. They have to check and make sure. The Senate checks to make sure they are qualified, experienced, whatever. That is the oversight power, where Congress oversees what the president's doing and makes sure the people that are in these positions can do the job, qualified to do the job, didn't kill anybody. That's Congress's oversight power. Basically, the president has to give their permission. Expressed, implied, and inherent power. I've done this already before, but if Yago is going to be hanging out with Titan, I tell him, whatever, if you need to spank him, spank him. What kind of power is that? Is that expressed? What would expressed mean? if you express,
Like showing, like.
just say it. Actually,
Yeah.
what I express that to him. I express that power. So any power that is expressed is written in the Constitution. It's actually given to the Congress by the Constitution. And I will share with you the 17 express powers that the Constitution gives to Congress. In Article 1, Section 8, one of those is taxation. Congress can tax. Congress can borrow money. It can regulate commerce. What's commerce mean? There's a Chamber of Commerce. There's a Commerce Street. What's commerce mean? Who goes to Chamber of Commerce meetings? Businesses. Commerce means business. Naturalization and bankruptcy. What is, if you're a naturalized citizen,
You're born there?
it's natural born. If you're naturalized, you become a citizen. You go through the process of becoming a citizen. Bankruptcy, you can't pay your bills. That's a word that sounds like what it is. Bankruptcy. It's not a bank. Money, they get the power. Congress can make money, print money. Counterfeiting. They're in charge of punishing counterfeiting. Has anybody got a 5? Let's see. Show you something. They've changed the dollar bills. Not just the dollar bill, but like, and they're going to start changing them more often because of technology. Got ones, I don't know if they have. That's fine. They have all the little, you notice all the little marks on them, and you hold it to the light, and you can see there's a little string going through it. There's all the little stuff in the. They do all that to keep them from being counterfeited. I think the most counterfeited dollar is a $100 bill. There's something with that, like the store where they highlight it, and if they does something.
There's a marker and
Yeah.
you draw on it and you turn certain colors for
Right. Or we have to spend money to keep ahead of the. I guess now what, I don't know how, I guess if you copy the $1 trillion coin. We talk about that in here. All the bill, when they were looking at the debt. You can make a coin, $1 trillion.
At McDonald's, somebody paid with a fake $100 bill.
Yeah.
I felt it and I was like, this feels like Stark paper.
It's
feel,
notebook paper.
I was like, this doesn't feel like a normal $100 bill. I got the marker and it like turned color like very bold.
Yeah.
This is fake. And we called the cops and got them. And we were talking to them. We were like, dude, you just tell them this ain't going to bring the food. One of us ain't going to pay for it.
Maybe it's a fake $100 bill. Do they know it was fake?
Yeah. They made it.
Godzilla.
When I worked at Lowe's, it didn't happen to us, but there was like the stores around us were getting fake money, and it looked exactly like a $100 bill, but like when you really looked at it, there's like Chinese symbols on it. Yeah.
They had Alfred E. Newman and had Napoleon Dynamite instead of Ben Franklin. All Napoleon Dynamite. That would work. Post offices. They can create new post offices. Patents and copyrights. What's a patent?
Like, so if you make something, no one else
An
can copy
invention.
it.
Or a way of doing something. If you register with the government, then you have ownership of that. Copyright is anything that can get copied, like a story, a picture, a song. If you own that, it gives you. Tomorrow we're going to do the song copyright lawsuits.
Is it trademark or something?
I don't know what. It's like that, but that's more like it's like a company symbol.
What about the R? What does the R mean?
Registered. I don't know. That's different than a patent or a copyright, but it's.
That all confuses me.
Yeah. Patent is a thing. Like if you create a thing or a new way of doing something, you get a patent on that. If it's something on a piece of paper, that's a copyright. It's a trademark. You can register for a U.S. trademark or a international trademark. It's
Wait, so if you only do the U.S. one, does that mean like someone in another country could still
probably so.
steal your idea?
The term trademark refers to a recognizable insignia, phrase, word, or symbol that denotes a specific product and legally differentiates it from all other products. Trademark exclusively identifies a product that belongs to a specific company. So you can register that. That's like your company's symbol. Amazon, FedEx. It took me a long time to figure out what the FedEx thing is. Era. Somebody tell me. I know you can register your trademark, so I don't know the difference between TM and R. What is the difference between register? Trademark symbol TM is a mark that companies often use on a logo. The registered symbol represents a mark that is a registered trademark with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Okay, so like the Cowboys star would probably be registered, but the Dallas Cowboys, I guess the symbol could be registered.
Well, like the Chick-fil-A logo has an R.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The TM symbol actually has no legal meaning. TM doesn't have any legal meaning. R is a legal.
There's an R right here. There's an R right there.
That's registered. We broke that a few years ago. The seniors gave the challenge at TM denotes you are claiming a right to use your brand as a trademark, although it's not registered. Okay. The R signifies it's officially registered. So TM, you're saying, "Girl, use my crap," and R means you can't or else you can't. We'll do copyrights tomorrow. Courts, they create new federal courts. International laws, they can define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas or the low seas. Only Congress can declare war. The president cannot declare war. Only Congress can declare war. They're in charge of the Army, the Navy. They regulate the military. They regulate and call in the state militias, which is the National Guard.
Wait, what about the time whenever was it?
Little Rock.
I don't remember.
Okay.
World War II.
Oh yeah, we declared
The
war.
bombing. Wasn't that the president though? And all of Congress was like, "Yep."
Oh, the president can ask Congress to, can officially ask Congress to declare war. And that's what Roosevelt did. December 7th, 1941, that was a date which will live in infamy. That was his address. The president, we don't let the president do it. We let make a group of people do it.
So why is the president there if
He's not allowed to do anything without
Basically.
permission.
All right. You got a superintendent that runs the schools.
Mhm.
The school board tells the superintendent what to do. The president carries out all the stuff Congress wants done. Congress will pass a program or a law, and the president's responsible for running the government like a company, like a business, and then make decisions. But we limit some stuff the president can do, but we do let him do some stuff. Like the, that makes sense. Like the superintendent, they just can do anything they want. They have to get permission from the school board to do things. But they run the show. The school board's not here every day running the show. Superintendent's running the show. The president carries out all the stuff that Congress tells him to do. And Congress says, here's the laws we want, here's the programs we want. The president's job is to make sure all that stuff gets done. There's an owner of the company, and there's the manager of the company. The president's like managing the company. District of Columbia, the Congress is in charge of all the federal lands and properties in the District of Columbia. And that's it. That's all Congress can do by the Constitution. Now, the 18th power is the necessary and proper laws. This gives them the power to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers. So it gives them the power to do whatever they need to do to get these other stuff done. It's called the elastic clause. It stretches the power. So those are all the expressed powers. The implied powers. If I tell Mr. Crillo, hey, whatever you got to do, keep time in line, you can do it. Did I say to spank you? I implied you could do that. So implied powers would be something the Constitution doesn't specifically say, but the wording leads to it. It implies that that power is there. And why can I tell Diego if he can spank my kid or not? Because I'm the dad. It's my inherent right to do that. The government has inherent powers because they're a government. They get to control the borders because they're a government. They don't say anything about the borders, but because they are a government, they get to do things. That's inherent powers. It's powers they have because they're a government. Certain things they can do just because they are a government. Powers denied to Congress is in Article 9. I mean, Section 9 of Article 1. That's like Section 8. Section 9 of Article 1. And they can't, we talked about this earlier, they can't get rid of habeas corpus unless it's a war situation. They might can do that. They can't grant titles of nobility. All right, we're done. We're going to do 3 of these now. We're done.
So what were the
inherent things governments can do just because they're a government? It doesn't say anything about the border. They get to do border stuff because they're a government.
This quiz is going to be next week.
Yes. It might be.
It was on Monday.
Yucky. How? How would this one be yucky? What is my quiz?
Quiz is a quiz.
No, it's not. You use your stuff.
Quizzes, you copy the notes from one.
Yeah, you're copying. All right, a direct tax. If you own a business or are self-employed, you pay your income tax directly to the government. That is a direct tax. If you pay it to the government yourself, that is a direct tax.
Indirect tax, wouldn't that be like the taxes they take out?
That would be indirect, or sales tax is indirect, because you pay the store, and the store pays the tax. Indirect tax, you pay someone else, they pay the tax. Your company, or your business you work for, takes the money out of your check and pays your income tax. Or you pay the sales tax to the store and then they pay the sales tax to the government. So if you're paying the government, that's direct tax. If you pay somebody else and they pay the tax, that's indirect tax. Most taxes are indirect tax. What is deficit spending? Spending money you don't have. Spending more than what you've got. With a house, you have to do that. Nobody has $100,000 laying around. Cars, majority of people have to do that. What's bad about deficit spending? You're pre-spending your money before you make it. You're spending money you don't have yet. Is there a guarantee you're going to have that money 5 years from now? No. You're hoping, you're pretty sure, and the bank's pretty sure you're going to have it or they wouldn't loan it to you. But if your check is $3,000 a month and your house payment is $1,200 a month, do you have $3,000? No. You got $1,800. And you have to pay for somewhere to live. Yeah. You're renting it or you're buying the house. So either way, you're paying for it. Do you have to have the house that you currently have? No. You might have too much house. You might have extra house. You might have less house. You can kind of pick and choose. We do have more house right now than what we technically need. I made a promise when we built this house. I wanted to have room big enough to where when the big play happened, young little Christians could look up and see the play instead of having to walk halfway around the house to come see the play. Or if something funny happened, Christian, you gotta come here. I wanted to be able to instant. And I also didn't want to bump into somebody in the bathroom. You have a shower, you do laps. That's my favorite part of the whole thing. I have to step over the tub, take a shower. I didn't want that. Anyway, you're pre-spending money. What else is bad about borrowing money to buy stuff? You're paying extra, you're paying interest. So it's costing you more than what it really costs.
Especially if it's your first one.
What I'm going to do, this truck's paid off. I'll make that payment to myself for a few years. See what happens. Someday I'm going to go lease the truck with heated seats. I'll just stick it out for a while. This is a good truck. It's fine. I'm just driving 3 miles a day. I'm just going to pay myself, build that up for a while, and see what I can do. Never had a savings account since I was like 5. Never had a savings account. I'm going to be smart. This is the first time in my life I'm being smart. I'm excited. Some savings account. Keep it. And add to it. When we get to economics, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. And you do need to listen to me because I know exactly what you don't need to do. I've learned in my life what not to do, and I'm going to teach y'all not to do what I've done and do what you need. It's not fun to do things right. There's nothing fun about saving. Woo! That's not exciting at all. It's fun to go buy stuff. It's also fun to have fall off a building and have a cushion to land on. Instead of just jumping out hoping, oh, I hope there's something there. You know, it's good to actually have something. Woo! Hello? Okay. Last one. Almost happy. We got the president. And we got Congress. The president can send troops President's commander-in-chief, the president can send troops out into the world. They're not always to fight or to blow stuff up. A lot of times they go there to help. If there's like in Haiti, an earthquake, we send troops there to help do stuff. When there was a tsunami in Indonesia, a huge one, President Bush sent an aircraft carrier.
My aunt was in the military and there was a tornado go through.
Yeah.
And they sent my aunt and some people out to go help. And then when she was on the base, like she wasn't on duty, but they still called her. And then another time there was a lady who was a hoarder, they were cleaning out her house. And they called the military to go in and help clean out the house.
Tornadoes, natural disasters, all kind. They do a lot of that kind of work.
People are hoarders.
President Bush's enemies, people that hated him, said, "What in the world? What kind of idiot sends an aircraft carrier for a tsunami?" Well, aircraft carriers can make ocean water into drinking water. They have hospital facilities. They have meal preparation. They got people there to go help. Congress can say yes or no, paying for that. So the president has the ability to send troops out in an emergency. Congress can say, yes, we'll pay for that. No, we're not going to pay for that. The president can ask Congress to declare war. Only Congress can declare war. Is that good? Instead of one single person getting to say, yeah, we're going to go fight and die, a group of people representing all of us gets to say yes or no.
Wait, one back to the paying thing.
Yes.
So if they say no, there's
We come back. Come back. Or they say yeah. Either way.
can't go.
What's that? Yeah.
Can't go.
Now, the president can send troops out, the law says, for like 60 days. After that, Congress can say, we're not paying for that anymore. So they have to come back. Not paying their salaries, just we're not going to fund that mission, so y'all need to come. We never declared war in Vietnam or Korea. The president sent troops there, Congress continued to pay for it. The president can, with the State Department, write the peace treaty, write the treaties. The president can make agreements with other countries, can make peace agreements, but only Congress can sign those agreements. The president is not allowed to sign the peace treaty or the agreement with the foreign country. Once again, we don't have a single person making those decisions. We've got a group of people that represent all of us. I'll remember later.
Yes.